Welcome to another Full Access Friday. I appreciate y'all being with me. A couple things. First and foremost, next Tuesday, I will be on the Dr. Drew Pinsky show. So I'm looking forward to that. It was rescheduled a couple times, reshuffled a few times, but I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a great opportunity for myself to get the book out there, things like that. Also, you may already know I am back on LinkedIn. Surprisingly, they were able to give me back my LinkedIn account with about 4,000 connections. So I've been spending the past week or so hitting up publicists, book marketing companies, SiriusXM program directors. I'd love to get a show on SiriusXM. I think that would be where I'd be able to let loose and kind of have some fun. So I'm using it to market not just the book, but myself and try to rebuild. So if you all want to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn now. So wanted to just kind of point that out. But I want to start tonight with these drones. There's a lot of people talking about these mysterious drones that are all over New Jersey, my neck of the woods where I grew up, and elsewhere. And now they're starting to spread to other states and things like that. So before we kind of get into it and I give you my assessment of what's going on, I want to hear from all of you first. So, Gail, you came in first. So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on these drones? Where do you think
Well,
they are originating from? And what is their purpose?
well, I did hear. I think there's a lot of things going on because I think now they've got copycats. I think in other parts of the country, I think is mixing it up. But the original ones, there was someone, a Chinese national, that was arrested in California for using a drone spying over Vandenberg Air Force Base. So they could be Chinese. They're trying to push this Iranian thing, and the deep state, they want to go to war with Russia, and Musk has got it right not to. No, that's not it. But it could be some spy thing, that we let on all these people and the Chinese nationals. Part of them could be that, and then part
Okay,
of
so
them
in
could
other
be,
words, the Chinese nationals that we let into the country could have
yeah,
brought this technology with them or are transporting information back to China about certain
yeah,
areas of the country.
yeah, partly,
Interesting.
and then partly it
Okay.
could be some copycats now doing it.
Okay.
And I think the FBI knows who they are. I think the deep state knows who they are, but they're
Gotcha.
they're they're gaslighting us somehow.
Okay. What about you, Glenn? You were in second. What are your thoughts here? Where do you think these drones are coming from? Who's responsible, and what is their end game? What are they looking to do?
I just found out about them this morning in my internet news. I read on from emails, and I didn't have any idea what was going on. And it could be China, and then like Gail saying, you have these copycats because there was a lady in Ten Oaks uh, trailer court saying that there was one out there buzzing by her at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I would made my comment on that. Just, you can't shoot them down, but you can
Right.
get one of the throwing fishing nets and trap the thing and then stomp the shit out of it. You know.
Well, I've heard that they're huge. I mean, they're the size of like a SUV, some of them.
Oh, really?
They're not these little tiny ones that you'd buy at Radio Shack
Yes, some of them.
or
Those are
Best Buy.
bad
I mean,
ones.
these are massive size, dining room table size or bigger drones.
No, I didn't hear that. I thought they were those little like spy drones or whatever.
No,
You
no,
know.
these are massive, major
Or they could be
military
us.
sized drones.
Yeah, it could be the government spying on people too, but I don't, what areas are they going through?
Well, they were in New Jersey, they were in Maryland, they were in, I believe,
Connecticut.
I mean,
Pennsylvania.
in like secured areas, or is it
Yeah.
Well,
just
they've
flying over?
traversed a couple of military bases for sure. Yeah, certainly in New Jersey and around that area. There's quite a few. So yeah, they've been. I've even heard that they're as far as California and Oregon. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure about that, but I have heard a couple of different things about that.
Well,
So
if they are those big drones, they should be able to shoot them damn things down.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna, they're laying and waiting for an attack.
Yeah.
well, that's the thing. That's exactly. That's something that we're going to discuss. Bob, what do you think? What's going on with these drones? Are they military? Are they another country? What is their purpose? What is their end game? Why are they doing this?
You
What are your
know,
thoughts?
they're number one, they're perfectly legal to fly the regular sized drones and everything, but you do have limitations as to how far you can go to the city and the elevations. These are
Right.
too big to be a hobbyist. I
Correct.
think that they are probably Iran. I think that if they're being flown in this country, I would suggest use a little technology to jam their signal. I mean, you can actually tap into it and jam their signal and bring them down. If that doesn't
Hmm.
work, I'd shoot them down. Period. If you don't like it, then send the bill to the government. Because
Yeah.
they have no business going over,
Yeah,
secure areas, and they have no business going over cities. Like you say, those things are the size of an RV. Who knows what kind of stuff they could have, like a explosive payload on it that we don't know about. So I don't think I'd take a chance. If they're over my city, I would want the officials to bring it down either electronically or with a rocket, a missile, whatever you want to call.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Um,
No, I think you're right. I think that they're definitely, not just, the public playing around. I think this is
yeah,
no.
something a little bit
people say
more
it's like a
serious.
copycat. Well, I think it's a very, very serious copycat. I think we don't know with all the peoples that are in this country illegally what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
if they're starting to do this, so you know what? Let's just bring them down, and then we'll take a look at them when they're on the ground. You could probably find a few prints on them who they belong to. Well,
Um, yeah, they do. You're right, Marlene. She asked me if they have to get permission to be in the airspace, and yes, they do. But you have to understand that this illegitimate regime that thankfully is ending soon doesn't care about that, and they're pro-China, they're pro-CCP, and so they would probably allow anything to come into our airspace. I mean, look what happened with the balloons in 2022, 2023, I think. Right, was it 2023 is when it was, I guess, or late 2022? You had these balloons traversing the United States of America. I covered it in here as well in the China Syndrome, Chapter 8. So I definitely think that they're foreign. There's no question about it. And I'll break down what I think here in just a minute. Carl, what are your thoughts here? These drones, these are huge drones. These are not your Radio Shack types of drones that you'd buy. These are big, 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 big drones. Where do you think they're coming from, and what is their goal here? You might be muted, buddy. One day you'll get it right. Maybe when we switch to Thursday nights, you'll figure it out. Go ahead, bud.
It could either be like Gail said, China, or it could be Iran, or it could even be our own government doing stuff with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, you never know what they're, with Trump going to be taking over in January, they might be planning something. Could be our own government planning
The
something.
man of little words is definitely tracking to my thought process. Pam and Jeff, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. What are your thoughts here on these drones? I mean, is this something we should all be worried about? Are these foreign drones? Are they planning something? What are your thoughts?
Hmm. It sounds like they're pretty big, so they're probably pretty serious. I was talking to my daughter, and she said, well, they're on one hand, they're saying the government's saying they're harmless, don't worry about them. And then on the other hand, the government is saying, we don't know what they are. So
Don't
Katie
shoot
said,
them.
there's just no way. How can they say they're harmless when they don't know what they are, or they're not saying it? And we can't fly drones around here. We're pretty close to an airport. And yeah, so it's scary.
Well, my
Okay.
understanding was that drones had to be flown by pilots and they had to file a flight path or flight plan. Do you know if that's correct?
Well, yeah, the FAA, I mean, has regulations for, what can be in the sky at what time. You've got air traffic controller rules and regulations. So absolutely, there's no question about it that you can't just fly these gigantic drones all over the place. No, there's definitely rules against it. But like I said, this administration isn't enforcing it.
Yeah.
So Scott joined us. Okay, good. Um, Liam, what are your thoughts here on these drones? These are some big drones. Number one, number two, they are more than likely foreign, and number three, what do you think their purpose is? What are they trying to do?
That's a good question, Josh. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't done the research on the back end, but I think what you said a few minutes ago, it's like, well, look what the spy balloons were there for. I mean, I can't think
Mm-hmm.
that the drones would be there for any other purpose. You got these big, fat, nasty drones. It's not like advanced Amazon delivery that they're practicing, right? I think they shot one down and it was a big old mess. But
Yep, I did hear that.
yeah, likely there for harm. I mean, is there? I mean, it can't be used for any good because as soon as it's got cameras on it, you don't want to be spying on the public. So whether it's harmed by the U.S. government or a foreign government, that's what I consider bad. Now, the actual purpose and what information you're able to collect,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it's a bit dodgy. Just want to get through these next few weeks, get to January the 20th, and can just look forward to better days ahead.
Yeah, no, look, absolutely. I put out on LinkedIn a little bit ago, not very long ago, actually, today, and I wrote, hang on one second here. I'll read you what I wrote. Okay, so I wrote this today. Here it is, right here. Is President Trump's life in danger? Are these mysterious drones a possible plot to attack his outside, wide open inauguration?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that there are still at least 5 known assassination teams actively targeting our president. Here is my take on the mysterious drones. In my opinion, they can only be one of two things: Iranian intelligence, Chinese intelligence, or probably both. Number one, Iran. Many years ago, you may remember that a U.S. drone was shot down by Iran, and Iran was able to retrieve the wreckage. Not only that, but they were also
Yeah.
able to
Uh,
go through that drone and have scientists and mechanical experts reverse engineer that drone
oh, I
and the
remember.
technology. And so perhaps they might have even improved upon the technology, because we're hearing reports that when people see these drones, like they're disappearing. Uh, and also we're hearing that one person said they were driving in their car, they were following it, and all of a sudden their car started to slow down, and then the drone went away, and then their car went back to normal. So I don't know if that's just rumor or what, but the technology that are in these drones, I mean, who knows what it could be. So there's a good chance that these drones are doing recon and logistics in order possibly for some type of surprise operation, which could likely be against President Trump at his inauguration. Number two, China. China could be behind these drones too. Let's not forget that the spy balloon fiasco from just a few years ago, China was repeatedly invading our airspace under this current pro CCP regime. They were allowed to traverse our entire country and surveil our military bases in installments with zero repercussions. I write about it in chapter 8 of the China Syndrome in my book, Preserving Liberty. China has this type of technology, they have the money, and they have the capability to pull off something like this. All I know, and I put in here, is that President Trump ought to reconsider having his inauguration outside of the Washington Monument, and perhaps maybe do something in a secure location that
Yeah.
is a type of building that can withstand a direct hit from a drone. We don't know what
Yeah.
is happening, but my guess is these things are not your normal types of drones. These are
No.
massive drones, like SUVs flying around in the sky. And yet the government is going to sit here with a straight face and say that we don't know where they're from, and we don't know whether or not they're dangerous or not. Of course they're dangerous. Of course they're dangerous. And think about where they originated: over New Jersey, but not just over New Jersey, over western North New Jersey, which is where, right where his compound is there at Bernardsville. And that's a beautiful area. That's Whippany and Mendham and Morristown Township. I mean, Route 287, Route 80. It's gorgeous, beautiful out there, and that's where they're being seen in Washington Township. It's actually kind of where my brother lives, believe it or not. And so that's where they started. But now they're going south.
To
Governor
DC.
Hogan in Maryland said he's seeing them right over his own house, and he's pretty close to DC. So if they start going into DC, now you know what's happening. They're traversing, they're looking at locations, and I think President Trump in his inauguration possibly could be in danger. I hate to see it.
Question.
Can I ask a question? Can Trump on January 20th, can he order somebody to shoot anything down like that before? And you know,
He's
have the authority then to do it?
he's technically not president until January 20th when he's sworn in.
Ugh,
So I don't think so. I mean, another person said, and I kind of understand this too, it possibly could be Russia or it could be all three because the
yeah.
technology is so advanced that only China or Russia or Iran would have that type of technology. Nobody else would have that technology. And the reason I keep thinking it's probably more Iran than anything else is because they shot down one of our drones and they were able to reverse technology, look at that drone and figure out the components and the technology. And then perhaps maybe even, improved upon that technology. So in my opinion, it's either solely Iran or it's Iran and China helping Iran. That's my guess. And I don't think it's really too much anything else other than those two. And for them to sit here and say, oh, it's not Iran and there's no mothership and all this other stuff, it's just crazy. It's
Mm,
crazy. And you wonder, and I'll say this publicly, you wonder if this outgoing administration
you did it on
is
purpose.
helping or is
Mhm.
behind this or is not stopping these drones for very nefarious reasons. I'll leave it at that. You can fill in the blanks.
They could kill all of them at once and blow. They could kill the vice president, everybody.
Whoever's at that inauguration, that's the
Yeah.
scary part. And like I said, I hope to God I'm wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I want to be, I want to be, I mean, I hope I'm not right, is what I meant to say. I want to be wrong. But, there's just too much happening and too much going on. And you wonder if the spy balloons were to first kind of do, reconnaissance, take a look at what's going on last year, and then disappear for a while. And then the Chinese military is working with the Iranian mullahs together in secrecy and saying, okay, here's what we got from the reconnaissance when we traverse the United States. We know where all the military installations are. We know where all the bases are. This is where the inauguration is going to be. This is the location of it. We've seen and traversed the land. We know exactly where we can be, how we can do. I mean, you hate to think like that, but why would we not think like that after what we have been, seen and accustomed to?
Maybe he should get sworn in secretly the morning of January
He should.
20th,
He
and then
honestly should.
have the military out after him. Any drones,
Do you
just shoot
stole
them
that
down.
idea
Scramble the
from Miguel?
military as soon as he's sworn in. I agree. Maybe even have someone go to Mar-a-Lago and swear him in there on the Bible,
Yeah.
and then from there he's president. He's not in the White House yet, but he can order whatever he wants to order on day one, and he could scramble the skies, shoot them down, and figure
Then-
out where they're coming from.
Then hold a
Because this
ceremony.
administration's not going to do it because they don't care or they're behind it. Sadly,
Where did you put that post? Was that on X or was that on LinkedIn?
it's on X and it's also on LinkedIn as well. But there's a big one on X as
Okay,
well. So
Hey,
And
Josh.
what was your,
yeah,
I can guarantee you, I worked in the airline industry, and I can guarantee you that commercial aircraft have to file a flight plan. These guys are flying these things, whether it's illegal or not. I can guarantee you they don't file a flight plan. They
yeah,
don't have to file a flight plan because they're doing it illegally. You think they're going to follow the rules? Come on. Somebody says need to file a flight plan, they won't. It's
exactly.
like
And that's why I'm saying it's possible that our current government is involved in this,
Oh,
I
I'm
agree.
sure it is.
is allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
You know, in one hand, they're saying, oh, we're going to leave. It's going to be a peaceful, transition of power. But yet, on the other hand, they're working possibly with the Iranians and the Chinese on something. Clearly, it certainly seems as though, I don't do the conspiratorial stuff, but just looking at the facts, looking at what we've seen, looking at what happened in 2023 across the United States of America, knowing that there are at least 5 assassination teams still in place trying to get to the president, what else can you possibly think? It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just using your brain. It's using logic. It's using process of elimination of who it could be and what it could be.
It's like who's acting more presidential, the president or Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
He
Obviously.
goes overseas to the Notre Dame, christening, and they all line up to meet him. In the meantime, Joe Biden's sleeping in the back. And
Yeah,
think
Gal and
you're
I
right.
were both scared
I
about
think
him
that the
going
Biden administration is out to
to Notre
cause
Dame.
him some harm, and I'm concerned about that.
What's your handle on X? I forget again.
At Preserving Liberty.
At Preserving Liberty. Okay.
At
Read the
Preserving
book. It's
Liberty.
good.
And then
The book's good. Read it.
And
Yeah,
then
I
I
want
don't
to get it out.
I don't
wanna
call it conspiracy theories. I call
Yeah.
it a hunch.
Yeah. I tried to do I guess a paid promoted
Who's
post once, and it was like $50 for like 6 or 7 days, and I was like, what the hell? I'll give it a shot. And it got like 2,200 views or something, but it didn't bring in the followers as I was hoping, so I'm probably not going to do that anymore. I do have a blue check, but that's, neither here nor there, especially on X. So we'll see what happens. It's been slow trying to gain traction on some of the platforms that I'm on.
And then
But I'm gonna get her.
your name on there is like Peter Gunn or something like that, ain't
No,
it?
it's okay. So when I was really, really censored back in the day, my name was so toxic that if you typed it, it got banned immediately.
Wow.
So I just came up with like a fake name, and I used like Jeff Sputnik or something.
That's what it
And
is.
so I write in there that this is really me, but I use this fake name that I came up with to kind of get around, whatever. So yeah, that's
YouTube
and then the
sucks
thing
was
is
your
with
other
X
handle.
is because I had that, I can't get rid of it. I can't take it off. So I actually had to put a pinned post saying Sputnik is really, it's really, it's kind of embarrassing, but hey, I had to get around the censorship somehow, right?
Yeah.
Remember your
That's what I had to
YouTube
do.
channel
What's that?
to get around censorship?
And Glenn can attest to this. There's a YouTube channel out there, but the problem is I can't get it to grow. And the reason I can't get it to grow is because it's behind the algorithm. It's not in front of the algorithm. In other words, it's not going to go into the suggested videos. If people are looking for videos, it's not going to be suggested, oh, here's a video from Josh Bernstein. Like it's behind that. It's like secretive. So what I did, there's like 60 or 70 videos of it. What I did is I changed the title of every video to Josh Bernstein is back on YouTube. And they're all the same title, basically. And I did that on purpose because if someone is searching, they might find the channel out there. But remember, in order for me to even put the channel up, I had to use an incognito window, which means it's automatically kind of in secret, which means it's not going to be in the suggested videos. You're not going to find it in normal searches and all that stuff. Right, Glenn?
Right.
Well, remember
Yeah.
your YouTube
I've been
sucks.
posting a
That was
bunch
your
of them on
secret
there.
handle.
Yeah, Glenn's been posting a lot. But here's the thing. If Brendan Carr changes the rules, they might be forced to give me back my 2 channels. And if they do, that's 275,000 subscribers or somewhere around there between the 2 and millions of views. So I don't know. I mean, I would hope that they would be given back to me with all the subscribers and I wouldn't have to start over. But I don't know. I mean, LinkedIn just turned it back on for me and I still had all my connections. So I would assume they can do the same thing at YouTube and elsewhere. But
And then,
we'll see.
and
what
I think I
happens.
was telling you before, you were about even with that Mark Dice when you got kicked off.
Yeah.
And now he's up over like 2.2 million subscribers now.
Yeah, but he self-censors, number one, and he doesn't get censored, number two.
Right, and he's on the pay thing too. He's not being demonetized.
Right. He's probably being monetized as well. You know,
Right.
I got
Well,
demonetized in 2017 when they
right.
changed the algorithms. They said, we're going to leave your channels up, but you're not going to make any more money. So if you remember at the time when that happened, I joined Patreon and I had like probably 400 people on Patreon that were, you know, supporting me there. And at one point, I think I was making a little over $6,000 a month just on
wow.
Patreon. And then when I got thrown off of everything in 2020, that was it. Everything went downhill from there. That's when they took everything from me. So,
Well, I'm just saying, if you were on YouTube and they never
yeah,
did kick you off, you'd
I
have been.
started a Facebook page too a couple days ago again, and it's called Preserving Liberty. So
Good.
you can find it there. So
there.
you can send me friend requests there. So I'm slowly trying to rebuild. I'm trying, you know, for so long it was so hard to rebuild that I just kind of like said, all right, they're never going to let me on anything, so I'm just going to kind of leave it alone. But with Trump coming back into office and things changing and going after these people that are censoring, some of these platforms are starting to open up already, and so I'm hoping that that I can start rebuilding my my digital footprint, so to speak. So we shall see what happens. But anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. Now, Nancy Pelosi.
Boo.
Well, Nancy. Wow. What happened to you, Nancy? Let's see. So she basically broke her hip. Um,
Wow.
I don't know. I guess she slipped going down the stairs. You know,
Jason.
those giant fake tits were probably in her vision. But
Oh my.
sorry. Former Speaker of the House, who can't speak, by the way,
Yeah.
Nancy Lugosi, has suffered a significant injury that could have detrimental consequences after her nasty fall from the stairs earlier today. Pelosi is in the hospital after falling downstairs while traveling in Luxembourg as part of a bipartisan congressional delegation to spread Satanism. No, to mark the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge. According to her spokesperson, Pelosi is receiving treatment from medical professionals in the tiny European country. He claims that she can still work but will be unable to attend the remaining engagements. So there you go. So
He thought the Battle of the Bulge was a diet program. She went over there.
yeah, the Battle of the Bulge is basically what the women sports are fighting against,
Yeah.
right?
So she tripped and nobody pushed her. She actually tripped on her own.
I mean, you know, if I was there, I'm pretty sure
You'd have
she wouldn't
pushed
have
her.
just tripped, but I don't know. So it's a good call. So anyway, let's come up with the weirdest, craziest ways how she fell. We'll start with you, Liam. How did Nancy Lugosi fall?
She was probably doing this and just fell over.
Drinking.
Yep.
So she was either chewing on Tide Pods and drinking heavily. Okay, I got it. What
else
about
can we expect these
what
people?
about Pam and Jeff? What do you how do you think she fell?
Well, Steve Bannon reported that it was a marble staircase and she was wearing high heels and she's 84 years old.
I don't know how she could wear high heels.
Wow, she's young for her age.
She's young for her age.
Did you have an idea?
What about you, Jeff? What do you think? How do you think she fell?
Well, I think that she probably was leaning so far to the left that she just tipped over.
There you go. She just tipped over. I like that one. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it could have been that she was wearing a mask and she was trying to get to a hair appointment while everything else was closed and slipped and fell. That could have been one. What about you, Carl?
She fell on her ass.
She just fell on her ass? Okay, we all fall on our ass, right? From time to time. Glenn, what about you? How did Nancy fall?
Stepped on a Lego barefooted.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
Stepped on a what? Lego.
Yeah.
Ow.
How about she walked in and she saw Paul, her husband, getting hammered from behind and went, "Oh my goodness," and slipped and fell that way. It's a possibility, right?
Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. Well, the guy that did it,
Went to
I guess ended up going to jail for like 30, 40 years or whatever it might be. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Trump will pardon him, you know,
Yeah.
Might
give him the
not want to
Congressional
be
Medal of
pardoned.
Honor.
Might not
Yeah.
want to be pardoned. He loves it there.
Tell him,
Yeah, that's true too. Well, how about we pardon that guy and put Paul Pelosi and Nancy in prison instead?
Yeah, that'd be better.
That would be better.
Yeah.
Exactly. What about you, Bob? How did Nancy fall?
I think she was standing there, looked on the ground, saw a quarter, and somebody gave her a shooter from behind, and then sent her down the stairway.
Okay, fair enough. All right. What about you, Gail? How did Nancy fall?
I can't top any of these
You
things.
can't top any of those.
Can't. I'm sure she was drinking with her slippery high heels, and I think that did it, I guess.
All right. Marlene, we're gonna count you in on this one too. How did Nancy fall?
Oh my.
You're laughing. That means you have a good one in your brain.
No, I'm still laughing at what Pamela's husband said.
Oh, leaning to the
He
left?
was leaning so far to the
That
left.
was the best one.
That
Yeah.
was probably the best one.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
one.
that was a good one, Jeff. You ought to join us more often. That was good. I like that one.
Slipped in one of Joe's dirty diapers.
Yeah. Well, mine was the most crude, I would assume, right?
Oh no.
Yeah. Her big giant fake breasts got in the way of her vision and she just tumbled. Maybe that's why she only broke her hip and not her face. Maybe those tits kind of acted as a cushion. Who
great.
knows?
Gravity was, gravity got her.
You know what? You can take the person out of New Jersey, but you can't take the jersey out of the person. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. So anyway, she's in a Luxembourg prison with a broken hip. But I guess that's what you get when you steal an election away from a candidate and start a Fedsurrection on January 6th.
Yeah.
Karma's a bitch, and she's
We're
definitely
not
one of
letting her
them.
out.
So.
What it is.
Anyway, let's see what else is going on real quick. Stephen Miller's laying out what to expect under the Trump term, which is pretty dynamic. All the things that he's talking about, which is good.
You see Zuckerberg in the White House?
The what?
Zuckerberg visiting Trump.
Yeah, kissing the ring. That's ridiculous. I mean, even Bannon called him out. He said, you can take your $1 million and shove it up your ass, I think is what Bannon's exact words were.
It's like he's afraid.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Carrie Lake, in this new position, I talked about it the other day, but I mean, what are all your thoughts on this? I mean, did anyone see this coming? Because I didn't see it coming, and I admitted that I didn't see it coming.
I hope she went to work for him, but I didn't see it coming, and I'm glad she's there. But it's like it was a surprise to me.
Yeah, completely. Gail, we'll start with you. We'll go back around, and we'll end up over at Liam there. So, what are your thoughts, Gail? I mean, she's going to take over Voice of America.
That's right.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, she should probably look at previous transmissions and make sure that they haven't been spewing things about America that are not true, and correct all that. But I guess she'll do well on that. I mean, she's a former broadcaster, so I'm sure she'll be really comfortable in that position. Does she she stays in the U.S. with that, right?
Yeah, she'll be in Washington.
Yeah.
She'll be actually in D.C. for that position.
I wish she was our senator, but
yeah, trust me, I do too. I wish she was our governor more than our senator, to be honest.
yeah.
But, in a way, she's going to kind of win in the end because this position in particular, I mean, she's going to reach 326 million people around the world in 48 different languages. You're basically going to have the opportunity to export MAGA.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're exporting MAGA to the rest of the world. Think about how many oppressed regimes are still functioning around the world. These people now in those regimes are going to be able to hear a pro-America, freedom-based message. And who knows, maybe some of those regimes will be overthrown because
You should be stirring up the UK. They don't have a decent constitution, and they're doing all sorts of. They're as bad as any. What do they call those kind of republics? Banana republics.
Banana republics. Exactly. Glenn, what are your thoughts here on Carrie Lake's position?
I like the idea of it. It's the first I've ever heard of that Voice of America. So,
Oh,
but then
Mhm.
when you
who they
were
were.
explaining it in your video, where it's all started and how it all got, and then came forward, I think that, her running the show, and then you said like 1,000 people.
Yeah, 993 people work in that department, and she'll be the head of that department. She'll be the director of it.
So, and then
So
that's
she's
right.
going to basically be in charge of the entire operation as far as the messaging, the communications, the hiring, the firing, all of it.
There we go. Thank you.
So
How,
I think it's
Wow.
awesome.
do you know how many different countries that's broadcasted in?
Well, it's 48 different languages. So I don't know how many countries, but I mean, if I had to guess, probably over 100, 125 or something like that. I mean,
And
it's probably quite a few.
how does an average citizen like me listen to something from them?
That's a good question too.
I've
I
never
don't know
heard.
if they're on digital radio or if they're somehow in other countries. Here, let me
You can
You
get
should be able to
them,
get
Give
video.
Carrie a call and find out.
how
get
do
them on
people
shortwave.
listen to Voice of America.
I used to be able to pick them up on shortwave radio.
People can listen to the Voice of America radio through the Voice of America mobile stream app, which is available for free on Apple and Android. Listen on demand, live radio broadcast 24 hours a day in dozens of languages. Choose your connection, share audio. International news media network that provides news, information, and cultural programming through radio, television, the internet, mobile, and social media. I don't well, let's see. Listen to hundreds of radio shows, programs on demand in more than 40 different languages. Hear radio broadcast streaming live in dozens of languages. Choose between listening to audio over your phone, cellular connection, or data connection to save money and bandwidth. So yeah, it's still broadcasting. It's been broadcasting since the 1940s, and it was created, like I said, in response to the Nazi propaganda that
Yeah.
was spreading throughout Germany and Europe,
And then
basically. And so
communism.
yeah, and so that's where it all originated from. And for many years, through all of our wars and conflicts, it's always been a pro-America message. But Trump really went after them hard in 2020 when or before that actually, when the virus and all that and the pandemic happened and all that. They were blaming America.
Oh yeah.
They were more anti-American in their approach. They weren't even like down the line in the middle. And so now we're going to be able to switch all that, and we're going to be able to talk about liberty and freedom and correct the record when they say something that's inaccurate about America. They can now correct the record. So I think it's a great position for her. And like I said, she's an award-winning 27-year veteran of the news here in Arizona. I mean, we grew up and she was in our living rooms every single night, so she's like a known commodity, certainly here. And, she knows the news business left and right, which is great. And you know what? Like I said, she gets to go back into broadcasting, but she's doing it in conservative media and she's doing it on her terms. So I really do feel as though in the end she wins. Now, of course, if we can investigate what happened in her races, that would be even better.
Yeah.
But clearly, I think that in the end, she's winning here on this one. So who else? Carl, what are your thoughts here on her position?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay, gotcha. Bob, what are your thoughts on the position?
I think that it's right up her alley. And I think she's going to do a fantastic job. And I'm like you, I want to know what happened in her elections.
Exactly.
I think that we need to find that out because she would have made a heck of a governor, heck of a senator.
Oh
She
yeah.
would have been a phenomenal governor.
But
There's
she's
no
going to do a
question
great
about it.
job for the Trumpster. So I'm looking forward to what she's got coming down the pike.
Gotcha. What about you, Pam and Jeff? What are your thoughts on her position?
Well, I think she deserves to be rewarded for trying to do the right thing, and I just kind of hope that she'll be exonerated of any charges and be successful with her new position.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any charges against her or anything like that. But I think it's unfair that she's had two elections stolen from her, and
Yeah.
clearly they were stolen. There's no question about it. And we need to get to the bottom of that. We can't just say, "Oh, we won a landslide, or we won a mandate, and it was a great election, and we're victorious." Well, what about next time? We've got to stop what happened this last time, the time before that, and don't forget. And you would know, both of you would know, you're in California. Those last three seats in Orange County, they were stolen.
Yeah.
Oh,
No
yeah.
question about it. They were stolen. I know there's recounts that are supposed to happen in Orange County, California on those seats and things like that. But we need a Department of Election Integrity. Instant executive order would create it in 2 seconds. And from there, we need to stock it with people that are forensic specialists, auditors, and let them go to work. I would start with the races in the House that they stole the election and made the House victory that much smaller. And then from there, I would go into the 4 Senate races and I would investigate those 4 Senate races here in Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They were all taken. We should be at 57 seats right now, not 53. So I would like to see that as well. And then from there, I would go into the 2022 election. And finally, at the end, I'd go into the 2020 election. Because we have 4 separate things that we need to look into as far as I'm concerned. And somebody's got to do that, whether it's Mike Lindell, whether it's Jovan Pulitzer, whether it's Russell Ramsland. I mean, there's so many good. Joe Hoff, Jim Hoff's brother, he's another forensic auditor. We've got to get these people in these positions so that they can do these investigations. Liam, what are your thoughts here on Carrie Lake's position as director of Voice of America?
Yeah, so a few different thoughts come to mind. Some of them might be redundant, some of them might be unique, but I'm thinking that, okay, I'm not surprised that, she was picked for the Trump position. I mean, she's that absolute mega driver. And of course, she's going into something she has experience with, like the media. So that will be excellent. I just wish that, yeah, she got that governor seat because, the state of Arizona would be better. And hopefully she can take that Congress seat in Iowa and throw out Joni Ernst. I think that's her name. So hopefully she'll do that in a couple of years. But I mean, for now, it gives her something to do. And
yeah, honestly, that's a good idea. I mean, she should buy a second home in Iowa, gain residency, take this job, do it for 2 years, and then declare for Joni's seat and get into the Senate that way.
Talk about better revenge, right?
Yeah, exactly. That would be a perfect way to exact revenge, without a doubt. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens. Scott said probably because she was waving at everybody, and that's why she fell, is what Scott said. So that's an interesting one too. But look, I think that she's the perfect person for a position like that. And look, I bet Trump was running around to all of his advisors going, find something for Carrie to do. We got to find something. We got to do something for her. Find something. Well, how about the Voice of America thing? Oh, yeah, that's great. You think she'll do it? Maybe. Let's ask her. Boom. She loves it. So I think that conversation, more than likely took place. But I think that she's going to do good at it because she has the broadcasting experience, number one. And number two, she's pro-America through and through. So I think she's going to do a really good job. So
Be a lot of firing there, I think.
yeah. All right. On that note, we're going to cut it short and then stay with me if you can, everybody, for to talk afterwards about a couple of things. So those are all my thoughts for this evening. Can't wait to hear all of yours.